Is your gel polish not lasting? Is it chipping? Is it lifting early? Is it peeling? Then this could be the video for you, so let's talk about it. So the first thing I would suggest, and it's quite common for a lot of techs this, is to revisit your prep. So go and have a look at your prep routine. Are you making sure that you get all of that non-living tissue off there? Are you making sure that you're etching thoroughly rather than buffing? Buffing smooths the nail, whereas etching creates little demarcations that really give the gel something to cling to. Is your nail fully dehydrated and cleansed? Little bits of dust can stop it lifting. Does your system need a primer? Some of them do, some of them don't. If you are having a client in particular that's having a lot of lifting problems, you may need to use a primer, whereas you might not on other ones. What kind of lamp are you using? If you're using ones like the little flash curing ones, so like the little torch or the little one with the fold out, I'll put some pictures there so you can see what I'm talking about. If you're using something like that for a full cure, it's not strong enough. It's not going to cure, well, anything really. It's good enough for a flash cure, but then it always needs to go into a lamp afterwards to make sure it gets a really good solid cure. But I would say first off, always try and match the lamp to your system. If you use more than one system, while I wouldn't recommend matching systems, I would recommend checking the wavelength, because whether the lamp might say it's 48 watt, 24 watt, whatever, that's not the issue. What we need to be looking at is the wavelength. Most gels that I have, because I did a bit of research on this, most gels that I have are 365 to 405 wavelength, so it'll say NM after it, and that's what you're looking for. You're not looking at wattage, you're looking at the wavelength. So if the wavelength of your lamp matches the wavelength of your gels, you should be good to go. The thing that can be an issue is the age of the lamps. LED lights don't last forever, and it may say that it lasts 50,000 uses. You're finding that a load of your clients is suddenly getting a load of peeling and lifting, the likelihood is you'll need to replace your lamp. I know a lot of techs will actually tend to, as a matter of course, replace their lamp once a year. And in fact, I've seen some techs that will actually do tests and keep a record of the test and when they've done it, of the gel, so they can just make sure every so often that their gels are actually curing with it. What to cap or not to cap? That is the question. So you need to look at your particular brand. Some brands say yes, cap the end, and certainly that's how I was trained to do it with all gels, but actually a lot of systems now don't want you to cap the ends. The reason being that you need to actually file it afterwards to take off any kind of excess free edge at the end to allow for shrinkage. So for example, my Gelafique system requires filing at the end of the Builder Gel application and everything, and the CJP ones as well, or certainly they did when you were using Bob and Rubber It and that kind of thing. It was usually better to refine it afterwards. The best way to find out what your system's doing is go to their website. Normally they will have full application instructions. The systems that I use have all got all that information on the website, or you can contact them directly. But if they don't have that information or application instructions as well, I would maybe have a think about the brand you're using as well. If we're talking about just gel polish, if it's happening on everybody, then I think you need to revisit the other issues that I've mentioned earlier on in the video. However, if it's just happening on one client, maybe you need to look at that particular client and see if just gels are appropriate for them. You might find they need like an acrylic overlay on the natural nails. You might find they need a builder gel, or even with some of them, a lot of the time just using a rubber base, which is a thicker base coat, will really help with retention, and it'll stop all the peeling and lifting that you're getting. Finally, and I think this is probably the most important thing, don't be hard on yourself. And I know that's easier said than done, but it's just really important to remember that most techs, not all, but most of us have had this issue at one point or another. I hope that helps, but if you've got any questions, please just pop them in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this, I would be super grateful if you gave us a like and a follow. Thank you for watching. Bye now.